Hello and welcome back to the Gimme a Whole Yeah Wrestling Podcast with me, Dom Smith, and...
I'm Ant.
Dom?
Ant.
And Ant.
You know, we nearly called the channel Dom and Ant.
The channel.
Oh, if you think that's bad, you wait till I start coming onto these Japanese names later on.
It's going to be fine. That's okay to say on the podcast. It's all good. Right.
Survivor Series.
Survivor Series 1987.
Yeah, Thanksgiving.
Bloody hell.
Same night as Starrcade was normally shown. Yeah. And here's a little fact for you. Vince McMahon...
he had a problem with it, didn't he?
He said to the cable providers that he wasn't going to allow them to show WrestleMania 4 if they showed Starrcade instead of showing Survivor Series.
What a dickhead.
Well, it was a clever business, man. Clever business.
Yeah.
The first sort of real big shot of across to what was WCW and what became the Monday Night Wars, which was a massive thing at the time. So I just thought that was a really interesting fact.
Let's just ask the audience for a question here, right? Like Vince he's notorious for being a bit of a tool to other businesses. You know, he likes to own people. He likes to squash them down like little bugs under his nice shoes. You know, and that happened with Jim Crockett Promotions back at this time. Do you guys think that all is fair in love and war? Do you guys think that because obviously Vince McMahon is a billionaire, I think he went from being a billionaire to a millionaire and now he's back to being a billionaire again. He's very successful. Can you be successful while being a dick? That's today's question from the gay podcast.
Let us know in the comments
Let us know in the comments section. So...
Richfield Coliseum, Ohio.
Yeah, Ohio.
Commentators Jesse the Body Ventura and Gorilla Monsoon.
Nice.
Jesse Ventura had just come back. He just... he hadn't come back. He'd been away previously, but Running Man had just come out at this point. The Running Man, have you ever seen The Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah.
Great film,
long time ago, yeah.
Great film. And Jesse Ventura was a part of that, and I think they mentioned it earlier on.
He was in a bunch of stuff at this time, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I quite liked him. He had little parts in things.
It was great. It was
pretty good. Always the muscle, you know.
But it was great.
Flashing his muscles around, you know.
It was great that he could bring that into the wrestling as well, and that was okay, and bring a bit of the star power, I suppose.
It was probably that one of the first, I don't know, I'd venture to say one of the first times that happened where WWF star translated.
You had Hogan and Roddy Piper was away at this time. I really miss Roddy Piper in this pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. But obviously he was off filming They Live around this time and stuff like that.
Andre the Giant, he was in a bunch of things, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yes, and before WrestleMania 3, which was the last one we did, he'd come back from Princess Bride filming.
Just going to take a sip of my water.
In a new mug.
A
Gimme a Whole Yeah mug. So
H2O, yeah.
This was sold as the first WrestleMania, the first time since WrestleMania 3 that Andre and Hogan, as they're also known as, were meeting up in a ring together as part of the Survivor Series matches. Let's talk a little bit about Survivor Series first. Do you like the Survivor Series matches?
I love the concept, man. Like, I love it. I wish they do more of that. It's very they don't. I know Survivor Series. They always do one, but like it used to dominate the card. It used to be like used to have like 4 or 5 matches.
They all used to be.
They all used to be Survivor Series themed. I think.
Yeah.
And so now they only do they do a women's one and they do a main
last year
one.
They brought back the Survivor Series match with the Raw versus SmackDown Survivor Series, which I thought was really good. There's one match that I don't think works as well in a Survivor Series match, but we'll go into that as we talk through the pay-per-view. So the first match, are you happy to talk about the first match?
Yeah, man.
Honky Tonk Man, Hercules, King Harley Race, Ron Bass, Dangerous Danny Davis with Bobby the Brain Heenan and Jimmy Hart.
Ron Bass. And Dangerous Danny
versus
Dickhead.
Randy Savage.
I find him so annoying.
Really?
Danny Davis. Yeah,
I thought Danny Davis did a really good job.
He's a good heel. I liked it when he got fucking DDT'd.
And they're versing Randy Savage, Ricky Steamboat, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Jake the Snake, Brutus the Barber Beefcake now, with Miss Elizabeth.
Face team.
Cracking lineup, actually.
Yeah.
Really good, especially on the face team.
Not sure about Ron Bass.
No, he did a bit in the WWF, but I think the face team is really strong, and what a good way to start the show.
Yeah.
First ever Survivor Series matches, a great first team.
He was on the heel team, and I thought it wasn't nothing that special.
No. Let's talk a little bit about the wrestlers. If you've just joined us, we like to talk a little bit about the details of the wrestlers that we've not covered on the channel. If you want to hear about any that we have covered, go back and watch a previous episode.
Please. Thank you.
Do you want to? Have you got any wrestlers that you want to talk about?
Duggan. I like Hacksaw.
Yeah.
A little bit of Hacksaw, Jim Duggan. Oh! Yeah, I mean, again, on this pay-per-view, it was a pretty big deal for him. It was kind of launching his career. He'd done really well for himself. Obviously, I thought the dynamic between him and Harley Race was particularly good as well.
Yeah.
I thought that, it was a decent match overall.
They'd been feuding for a while over the King of the Ring thing, hadn't they?
Yeah, and it was a nice way to kind of build on that feud.
Yeah.
I think that, like I say, Duggan had this kind of stellar background, and obviously he went on to do some pretty cool stuff. He was still in the WWE till fairly recently, in recent years.
Appeared in Legends House as well.
Indeed, he's on. I believe he's on a Legends contract. But he won the first Royal Rumble, which we'll come to.
Yeah, which is the next
spoiler.
Yep.
Spoiler alert. But then he never really didn't really do too much in terms of I read that he kind of thought he was on an upwards trajectory to a championship and on the back of that, but that never really came through for him. But he had a good run.
Well, the crowd were behind him.
I'll talk more about Duggan next time as well. But yeah, he had the US, the good old US thing, and the blue collar America, the working class thing, the 2x4, which is iconic. Which is iconic.
Yeah.
And he had a good beard for a while as well.
He did. He certainly did.
This was nice beard,
I think it's growing. Yeah, it's slowly growing. Yeah. I'll probably shave it off at some point.
A little bit of face fuzz.
Bit of face fuzz. A cat can't lick this off.
What?
Don't worry about it. Ron Bass, who had wrestled with Jim Crockett Productions and had frequently tag teamed with Black Bart. They tried to have him as a challenger to the likes of Brutus and Hogan, but he soon found himself in the mid-card. And he actually died March the 7th, 2017, so a couple of months ago.
Shit.
Yeah, not great.
Ron Bass. I just like saying his name.
Yeah. Ron Bass. One syllable in each name. Yeah, it was okay. It was nothing special. The performance was nothing special, really. No. I like Brutus's high knee. I've got a little bit of...
That was me slapping my leg for emphasis on the knee.
An exclamation point by slapping his leg. Honky Tonk previously had won the Intercontinental Championship off Steamboat, so we saw Steamboat beat Randy Savage for it at WrestleMania. Do you know why it was such a short run for Steamboat?
Tell me why.
This is awful, man. Vince McMahon, awful. So,
you're an awful human being, Vince, and you can't take us down because we're not stealing any of your content. Carry on.
So, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, his wife was having a child. I think it might have been his second child. So he'd asked for a little bit of time off to spend a bit of time with his wife, and as I was expecting the first son. And then he took the title off him because of that. How much punishment is that? As a wrestler, you are not allowed to have a life outside of the WWF.
That is nuts, man. Oh yeah, I remember, it happened to one of the most, on a side note, one of the best female wrestlers to ever grace the squared circle is a lady called, she went by Karma in the WWE, but Awesome Kong in TNA, and she became pregnant. And they completely I think they just stopped her push and everything.
Weird.
Just because of the so sorry. It kind of adds to what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't even
basically don't have dreams of a nice life outside of the WWE. If you want to become a WWE superstar, you have to give your life to it. And then eventually, after 20 years or 10 years or 15 years, when you become John Cena and have a chiseled chin and a beautiful wife, then you can have 2 kids or whatever, or you're Daniel Bryan and you fuck the system and then everybody falls in love with you and you're too good not to have around, then you can have a kid. But if that doesn't happen to you, then you clearly are screwed.
I can't believe it. It's sad.
Yeah, I mean, Steamboat was, what an incredible athlete.
And also, between WrestleMania 3 and now, Savage had turned babyface and he'd been feuding with Honky Tonk Man over the Intercontinental Champion. And it was all about who's the best Intercontinental Champion, which Savage never took back off Honky Tonk. And this is one of the longest reigns of the Intercontinental Championship with Honky Tonk as well.
It mimics a lot with what Jericho and CM Punk were doing in recent times. They're kind of proving it was very much an early incarnation of that kind of feud, which again is repeated a lot in WWE lore and history, is who's the best, the best in the world, and it was very much an early version of that, and they did it really well. I prefer Savage as a face. I think it was great. I don't think I have said, I might be contradicting myself. Please tell me in the comments section if I'm being a knob and I've contradicted myself, because I do compliment Savage on his heel work. Yeah. I like him as a face. I like him as a face. I like and everyone loves that shit. Everyone wants to say that. Everyone wants to, have the hat on.
I love him as either way. Some people don't work heel as well. Dolph Ziggler. I was just saying it to upset you.
Hang on.
Go on.
Hang on. Ziggler's a bit I would love to be able to cheer Ziggler all the time.
Ziggler's a better face.
He's not though.
Okay.
He's not though. You're wrong.
We'll get to that in 2000.
In
15,
20 years time.
So starting off with this match, we have a video package of Elizabeth getting pushed over by the Honky Tonk Man. And he threatens to... Honky Tonk Man threatens to shake, rattle and roll her if she gets into the ring. Harsh. Huge pop for Macho Man when he comes down. Huge pop. Beefcake and Hercules starting the ring.
I like Hercules as well. I don't think he got his due with this.
He was better now than he was in the Full Nelson Challenge stuff at WrestleMania.
Yeah, he came into his own.
Yeah.
Brutus
was sold really strong actually as he took on multiple men at once. So from going from this heel character, really strong babyface push straight from the start. Nice to see.
Nice to see. It was, like I say, I think it made Honky Tonk Man look strong because of the shake, rattle and roll and the finish.
This was almost. I mean, Honky Tonk Man was such a focal point of this match, even to the ending. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat with a karate chop onto Danny Davis. Yes. Again, Steamboat looked absolutely amazing on that top rope. And I was thinking about this, and I was going to say to you, I'd compare it to Finn Balor.
Yeah, man.
That strength before the coup de grace.
I'm breaking up because I'm agreeing. I'm on it. I agree. Yeah, you are on fire with these, and
I even wrote it down to say to you.
The comparison is there.
It is.
You are correct.
Yeah,
you are correct.
Great.
I think so.
So then we have Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Harley Race fighting. They both end up on the outside of the ring and double count out.
They get you know what? Like I said before, I dig the feud. It's classic.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's classic face heel thing, we always talk about. It's replayed. Like at this time, it's so blatant that every week and every pay-per-view they're recycling the same types of feuds and whatever. But that's what that's what people wanted in those days. They wanted the patriotic guy, and then they wanted the heel that was just.
What I like about Harley Race is that it wasn't the it wasn't Nikolai Volkov, and it wasn't the stereotypical anti-American heel, and that's what I liked about that. And
he was definitely a good villain.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
Duggan's the hero. Duggan's the blue collar guy, the guy that everyone likes.
The only problem with Race is I didn't really believe it that much. I don't think his character was that well developed. He was quite an old wrestler, and it was very much a style of an old heel. I don't think there was that much.
Yeah, like
character
a classic,
in it.
like a vaudevillain type. The vaudevillains from present to present day. But I think that gimmick that Aiden English has now.
Yeah.
Would have worked really well back then.
It would have done, but I think Harley Race could have done better at selling something like that.
It's a very similar type of gimmick.
He was very much a territories wrestler, I think, and that's sort of how he was being sold and how he was sold. Yeah. So they're both double counted out, so that sort of sets up the rules for a Survivor Series match as well. That you can lose a team member by double count out, because we've got to remember this is the first time that people are seeing that type of match. Yeah. Ron Bass is eliminated by Brutus the Barber Beefcake. fine.
Standard.
Well, it's good to see Barber get one out because I mean, obviously, you have got 3 other massive faces in there, and Barber did well because you've got Jake.
Yeah, it felt good.
Jake, Ricky, and Savage.
Yeah.
To be able to stand out against them 3.
Yeah, it's the best
as well.
It's the best face team we've seen. So far.
Yeah, it's good.
Of anything, I think.
And the Barber spent a lot of time in the ring as well. Like he had a really good show in here. When they could have just given that to Savage or Jake or whoever. Great atomic drop from Barber on Honky.
Mm-hmm.
I always loved the way that Honky sold a move like he was Elvis.
Yes.
So when he gets this atomic drop and he starts shaking like Elvis, great character work.
Yeah.
You know?
Like over the top, but so brilliantly done. I don't think he was ever made. You know, he's like a gold dust. You know, he was never made to be a world champion.
No,
he was made to be just good.
A good heel.
A good heel and a good seller.
Yeah.
And a good, just a good all-round worker.
Yeah. But I think it's interesting just to take that element of Elvis, but incorporate the wrestling into it in terms of not just how he looks and how he acts, and that's what a good character worker does. He took that and he was doing Elvis moves when he was hurt, and that's clever.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
and like I say, WWE tried to emulate that. Has tried to emulate that style of character for years, most notably with Jeff Jarrett when he had a run in the WWF, and it was terrible. So
I'm not as fond as Jeff Jarrett as
he wasn't a great. Honky Tonk was. You're right. He was a character.
Yeah, it was.
He was Elvis. He was Johnny Cash. He was always he was always kind of really, really outlandish,
but more
arrogant.
Than that, he was able to sell it within his move, and that's very clever.
Yes, sure.
Danny Davis catches Barber's foot on the Irish whip, and Honky Tonk gets shake, rattle, and roll for elimination.
Yeah. What a dick.
Then we get Jake versus Honky again, so we see them 2 in the ring. It's the going back again to that WrestleMania 3, which was huge at the time. Everyone wanted to see it. The crowd were popping, and everyone was into the DDT more than they ever had been at this point.
Cheering for the DDT. I dug that. That was nice.
Yeah.
I really hate Danny Davis. I'm really glad he took a DDT. That was a highlight for me.
The nice thing about Jake the Snake is any time he had someone in a headlock, the crowd would go mental straight away because just for the excitement of seeing that one move, and that's great.
It's
and we've
funny,
talked about the
it's
DDT
funny.
before.
Not really, it's probably my favourite wrestling. It's one of the most simple things you can do.
Yeah, I mean, I always enjoyed when I was younger. I always enjoyed that, and I enjoyed the pile driver as well.
Yeah,
especially when Undertaker come on a bit later on with the tombstone pile driver. So Jake gets the DDT on Danny Davis.
Yep.
Crowd go mental, and obviously you don't get up after a DDT.
Nope.
Eliminated.
Fuck you, Danny Davis.
They're gone.
You dead.
Macho Man gets the elbow onto Hercules after Steamboat has some good offense for the pin.
Yep.
So we get to see Macho Man's finishing move.
Yep, the macho elbow.
And then it's just... Was that what it was actually called?
It was called the macho elbow.
Right, okay.
I believe.
I just don't think they ever reference... I haven't heard them reference...
No,
maybe they do macho elbow.
No, I think it was called just the flying elbow, but I think it was technically...
Yeah, well, it was his
Correct
own
me if
thing.
I'm wrong, people. Pay attention.
Just so now, all we've got left is Honky Man on the team against Macho Man, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and Jake the Snake.
Yeah, and he buggers off.
He belts it.
As you would if you were a heel.
Absolutely.
I would.
There was, but he didn't do it straight away. There was a lot of quick tags with the faces, get a lot of offense on Honky, have him selling. And one of the things that impressed me with Honky in this match that I've not really noticed before is how he was able to keep up with all that. Because it was a really fast onslaught that I thought he did really well to keep up with.
Yep.
I quite enjoyed this as a Survivor Series match, actually.
Yep. I was a fan.
So the ending of the match, Honky runs away for a count out. I was going to say this to you. I don't like count outs in general. That works perfectly.
It was my favourite count out that we've had to deal with so far because I also hate count outs. But if done appropriately, not just for the sake of saving time on your card
or carrying on a feud. This was 3 monster faces, and he couldn't deal with it. And I thought that was great. And I'm probably going to retract that statement later on and say that Honky Tonk Man constantly did that. But for this circumstance, great ending for me.
It was done well.
Really good ending, yeah. Yes. Didn't need to see him get pinned. Preferred that.
Nope.
So next up, we have an interview with Bobby Heenan and Andre's team about him pinning Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a bit of...
A lot of ego.
What, sorry?
A lot of ego there.
It was all about, during the WrestleMania 3 match, in the first sort of 3 minutes, there's a moment where Andre is on top of Hogan and they're arguing that he got the 3 count because you can't see the referee's hand as Hogan kicks out. Yeah. Clever stuff to carry on that whole Hogan feud, and that's what people were really excited about then.
Yeah, it was done well. It was done well. Heenan is that generation's Heyman, I believe.
He was great, but also Andre as a heel was great as well.
Indeed,
I love Andre as a heel.
Yeah, he was never meant to be in it. Like he was a good face, but he was meant to be a heel.
To be a face for 15 years and to have the impact as a heel that he did within the space of 2 years,
it was nuts.
Is
nuts.
Great.
Yeah,
great.
And also, can we just take a moment to say that as much as we discredit Andre's in-ring skills, he still moves better than the Great Khali does.
Yes, he does. Or Giant Gonzalez.
No, you're right. Yeah, I was going to think about it, but no, you're right. You're right. So, from rest in peace and all that. God bless you, Andre. You smooth-moving bastard. Okay.
So next up, we have the Glamour Girls, Judy Martin, and Leilani Kai.
I'm in a very twitchy mood. I get quite excited about this one.
Not because it's the women's?
No, I don't know. I feel like this is a really, really positive pay-per-view compared to some of the stuff we've been dealing with. I feel like some of these matches are more solid. This is definitely a more solid women's match than we're used to.
100%.
No disrespect to any of the performers, of course, previously that we've dealt with, but I'm twitchy excited because I believe that this is probably the best showing we've seen so far in our series.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
So we have the Glamour Girls, Judy Martin and Leilani Kai. Dawn Marie.
Leilani Kai.
Sorry.
Leilani Kai.
Dawn Marie, Donna Christinella.
Jimmy Hart as well.
Sensational Sherri. Mm-hmm. Sensational Sherri with Jimmy Hart. And they were against Velvet McIntyre, Rockin' Robin, the Jumping Bomb Angels, and the Fabulous Moolah. You want to talk about some of them wrestlers there? Because there's a lot of new wrestlers that we've not covered in there.
So basically, we've got Donna Christianello. She was the NWA Tag Champion with Tony Rose in the 70s, and that title was integrated into the WWE in 1972, where they were also champions in that company. They were the first official WWE Tag Champions of any kind.
They were.
That is an exciting moment.
Yep.
I also have a note on Dawn Marie. I got really excited because I thought it was the same Dawn Marie that was in ECW with the massive personality. She was fucking go and watch any ECW show with Dawn Marie, man, and you just tell me that her personality isn't just
massive,
brilliant. So anyway, this isn't that Dawn Marie. I mean, no disrespect, because obviously Dawn Marie, in her own right, ECW Dawn Marie was a great performer. But anyway, so Dawn Marie Christianello, sorry, not Dawn Marie Christianello. I'm getting so confused. I'm getting so excited about Dawn Marie from ECW's personality that I'm getting this. No disrespect. We have. We have Dawn Marie. She beats Rockin' Robin in this match with a kind of a decent-ish crossbody. But anyway, she primarily wrestled in Japan. There's not too much to know, really. She went on to have a few matches in the Ladies Professional Wrestling Association, the LPWA, in the early 90s before retiring. So they're not a great deal to know. She had a decent enough career. She had a few sort of standard mid-card matches. Also got a note on Sensational Sherri.
Sensational Sherri was great.
Yeah, this is, any wrestling fan, past or present, if you don't have some kind of knowledge of Sensational Sherri, I suggest you read up. She's probably one of the top 5, in my estimation, female managers
female
of all
managers,
time.
Yeah.
And probably female performers. She did have a run as a performer.
I think there's some great females.
Depends how you look at it, but she basically ragged people around. She
did, yeah. I thought
she was a bit like Luna Vachon. Like, you can't say Luna Vachon was a great technical performer.
Nope.
And you can't say Sensational Sherri was, but the way they were kind of, she would rag people around, and I like that.
I mean, I
not
think
in a
she
weird
was
way, not like in a weird. Like,
I think she was better as a manager.
Yes.
And I think that her being a manager also gave her a lot more exposure than she would have got if she'd stayed.
Her clientele speaks for itself. You got Shawn Michaels, you got the Macho Man, and also on an interesting note, her last performance before she died of a drug overdose, unfortunately, in 2006. Her last obligation was to manage Bobby Roode in TNA.
Oh, really? Right.
So yeah, like Sensational Sherri, one of the greatest sort of character managers, female managers in wrestling, all of wrestling history. If anybody's got any other interesting facts, I'd love to hear them, because she was brilliant.
I've got one.
Go on.
She was the Shawn Michaels, the original theme song. She sang it.
Oh, yes,
as she was managing.
Yeah, I think there was a moment in more recent history when Kurt Angle had a feud with Shawn Michaels.
And did the sexy boy.
Yeah.
He did, yeah. More recent history, about 10 years ago, but yeah.
It's more recent history to us.
Yeah.
Because we are fucking old, man. We're older than we feel. And we're older than the women that we feel.
So,
can I say that?
Yeah, no, that's fine, yeah. Whatever.
Tell me if it's inappropriate, people.
It probably is, but that's fine. I'm
Sorry.
going to talk a little bit about the Jumping Bomb Angels. Have you got any more to add about?
No, I'm a fan of Sherri. Sherri's
great.
From around, like I say, around this time, she was a standout name on this card compared to, say, Dawn Marie. No disrespect to her as a performer, and also, like anybody we've mentioned previously, I thought that Sherri was definitely a standout. She was good.
Although for me, the real standout in this match was the Jumping Bomb Angels.
Yes, you were saying earlier. Yeah.
I was so impressed with her in-ring work to think that I'd never really noticed them before. I thought that they carried a lot of the match, and I thought that some of the moves that they did were really impressive. And one of the things that they did is they brought a bit of difference to the women. A lot of the women in this match were wrestling in a style that would see the same hair pulls, the same drop kicks. These did a little bit more, and it really impressed me.
Yeah.
So first of all, we have Itsuki Yamazaki, who had been part of All Japan's women's pro wrestling in the 1980s and had been feuding with Noriyo, which was the other Jumping Bomb Angel, over the AJW champion, and she won this in February 1984. She now lives in New York and owns a sushi restaurant called Go. There wasn't a lot of information actually on what she did, because these two girls I thought could have really took the women's division into a different league, and it's a shame that they were
very impressive. Yeah, they were very impressive. But again, it's a different time for wrestling, different time for WWE. There was possibly a lot of unfortunate barriers that perhaps shouldn't have been there for them.
Yep, agreed.
So, I mean, like I say, in this day and age, we're looking. It would have been perhaps a good time for them to be a part of a roster. But yeah, I mean, they would have had a lot of challenges back at this time.
100%. Well, then you also had Noriyo Tatinio, who was also a Jumping Bomb Angel. I probably murdered that, but that's fine. She continued wrestling until 2010. So, as a female wrestler, if you go back to like Moolah, yeah, she was wrestling for years. But female wrestlers tend not to, and this is really bad to say, but they tend not to have as long a shelf life, do they, as the male wrestlers have.
I would like to offer that out to people in the people watching. Could you correct us? Because I wouldn't like to say that that's true strictly.
No,
but at the same time, you may have a point.
Yeah.
So
if you look at like Beth Phoenix, for example, she wasn't wrestling as long as someone who was wrestling in 1987 and then 2010. That's like 25 years plus.
Yeah, no, you got a point. So let's see. Any exceptions to our rule?
I also watched a great match with her from 1990, and it was her versus a young Medusa.
Oh, nice. Was that in WCW?
No, it was in Japan. When
really?
Medusa, who later on became Alundra Blaze in the WWE.
Yeah. She was in WCW for a while as well.
She was, yeah. Well, she had the massive moment where she drops the title into the bin after Vince basically got rid of her because they couldn't afford to keep. I don't think she had any competition, but we'll deal with that when we get to 100 Blaze a bit more. But it was part of a AJW Japan Grand Prix match, and it showed a lot of skill from both the wrestlers. I was really impressed, and I'd advise going to watch it. It's great to see a young Medusa, because I think Alundra Blaze did amazing things for the women's wrestling.
Yeah, back in the day, very similar to say, well, there's countless examples, like a Charlotte for that day.
She was a great, and I don't think that she necessarily had the competition within WWF that she should have had.
No.
But I think that she was an amazing technical wrestler, certainly.
But it does go to show that Japan and Europe and all those promotions that she was such a big part of during that time were much better at handling her as a performer and female wrestlers in general.
Probably,
Strictly speaking, if you go to a international, this is just an opinion, if you go to an international organisation, they place female wrestlers and female performers in a much higher, more prominent role on the card, and also they treat. I think they're, I mean, there would have been no bra and panties matches in Japan.
No, there wouldn't have been. No, there was.
Do you know what I mean?
There was treated as the men were, and which we didn't get in the WWF.
And they still are, they still are as well.
Which we didn't get in the WWF until fairly recently.
And as much as when we were growing up as teenagers, bra and panties matches would have appealed to us.
Watching it back now, it's going to be.
No, it's cringeworthy. Cringeworthy. Yeah.
And then the last wrestler to talk about here is Rockin' Robin, who was the daughter of Grizzly Smith. So she was a second generation wrestler. He was an older Texan wrestler. Her brother was Sam Houston, who we talk about a little bit more in the Royal Rumble, and she was the half brother of Jake the Snake Roberts. So some
there you go,
wrestling blood was in her. She was I remember her as a sort of an icon of the women's division. I think she held the belt for a while, didn't she? Well, no, she did hold the belt for a while. She had success as a solo wrestler in the WWF, holding the women's championship for around 2 years before she left the company, and that's when WWF vacated the title of women wrestler, because there was no one to. So she was. I remember her being a massive deal back in the day. I mean, she was just a sort of babyface, clean-cut young girl. Later on in life, she developed a dependency on alcohol at some point after leaving the WWF, and that could have been related to some of her father's abuse from early on, which is rough. But I think Jake also goes into a bit of his father's abuse and how that caused him to have issues later on. So, but she's clean as far as I'm aware. She did get clean. Hopefully she stayed clean. Have you got any other wrestlers to talk about, or should we move on to the match?
I think we're moving forward to the match.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, Sensational Sherri starts off against Velvet McIntyre in the match. Velvet McIntyre pins Donna Christanello.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of drop kicks and hair takedowns. That was sort of a common theme. Yep.
Victory roll again. I'm really sorry. I've just done so many victory rolls at this time.
Yeah.
Just like, come on, man.
But at least it felt like there was a lot more energy than what we'd seen from...
Yeah.
And probably because they spent a lot more time on it.
Yeah, a lot less time.
There was a high cross body.
Fumbled is what I was going for, the word.
Yeah. Speaking about fumbled, let's talk about Dawn Marie, who got a high cross body from Rockin' Robin, which meant that she was eliminated.
What name? Rockin' Robin.
Rockin' Robin.
And a high cross body from Rockin' Robin.
There was a great bridge out of the pin from Itsuki from the Jumping Bomb Angels. That was a move that they did a few times, and it's something
those guys are super talented.
Really great. To bridge out of that position, and I know that the weight of the person isn't on you, but it looks great. It looks good. Really great. Yeah. Double underhook from the Jumping Bomb Angels looked great as well. Sensational Sherri eliminates Rockin' Robin after a suplex, so another good way to give Sherri heat, getting the babyface girl.
Man, like, the suplex didn't look good.
No, it wasn't. It was a bit sloppy. Yeah. But again,
probably one of Sensational Sherri's finest moments in the wrestling ring. In terms of a technical move, anyway.
Yeah. Well, like I said, she would become a legendary manager anyway. Indeed. Jesse Ventura says maybe one of these ladies should shave their heads so they can't get the hair pulled, because there was a lot of hair takedowns in the match. Is there any bald wrestlers that have wrestled in the WWF?
Here was one.
Is there any?
Right now?
No, not right now. In the history of the WWF.
Plenty.
Is there? Who? I just don't know. I know female wrestlers.
Oh.
I'm just imagining George Steele in drag now, man.
I'm pretty sure it happened one time. I think he came back in the Attitude Era.
That was Pat Patterson and Joe Briscoe.
No, I'm pretty sure.
George Animal Steele as well.
Sure. I'll find it. Maybe there is. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just really tired. But maybe that actually happened.
Was there any bald? Was there any that have had shaved heads?
Oh yeah. Molly Holly.
Molly Holly. Right. Okay.
And also, but only after a while. Only after she shaved her own head.
Okay.
And also, who was it? Because we can't remember now. The Straight Edge Society, CM Punk Straight Edge Society, had Luke Gallows, CM Punk, and a female wrestler with a bald head.
A shaved head?
She was only shaved to join the Straight Edge Society.
Right, okay. Because I wasn't watching it at that time, I just wondered.
There will have been plenty more,
yep.
I am sure. So please, in the comments section, do comment and tell us. Indeed. That's my Bane voice. Bane's bald.
Bane's bald. Bane is bald.
Bane's bald.
Great. Fabulous Moolah eliminated by Judy Martin after a double team clothesline. I didn't think Moolah had a great show in this match. No. I sort of wish she wasn't there, but I suppose she was still holding on to that heritage for us. Well, yeah. Leilani Kai, said the name right.
Yeah.
Ka-ching.
Also proper legend as well.
Yeah, she pins one of the Jumping Bomb Angels. The bell rings, but the ref says no to it, as she was bridging at the time, so a little bit of confusion there. I think it was the bell guy that got overexcited.
Not really great. Yeah,
it was fine. You know, I think people booed because they thought it was going to happen. The ref was like, "This can't happen because these guys are winning the match." Yeah. Velvet McIntyre with a Cesaro swing on Sherri. Don't know, probably just called a swing, but it was a proper Cesaro swing.
Nice.
I don't know if she did the head. Should have done. And then Velvet McIntyre pins Sensational Sherri. Yeah.
That was very much Jake's thing at the time, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. And then Velvet pins Sherri. Velvet McIntyre was a massive draw at the time, I think. So to have her peel the ultimate heel was still sort of holding on to that relevance. Yeah. Velvet's back is hurt, and after bouncing drop off the top rope is pinned by Leilani Kai.
A bouncing drop?
Yeah, I think that's what they called it as well. I can't remember what it looked like.
The bouncing drop. The infamous bouncing drop.
They probably haven't. That's probably just what I called it. Okay. It wasn't even Vince McMahon doing this.
I can't do a Vince McMahon voice. The bouncing drop. The bouncing drop from the second row.
So now we're left with two tag teams, which is the Bomb Angels versus the Glamour Girls. So great ending to the match because we've got these two tag teams. All four are in the ring. Great slingshot of one of the Glamour Girls onto the other as one's lying prone. I thought that looked great. The Bomb Angel pins Leilani Kai after crossbody from the top rope. I don't think the commentators were using the names. No. This was another issue I had with the Royal Rumbles, that they were just referring to them as the Bomb Angels. In the Royal Rumble, later on, I think they referred to them as red and pink, which really annoyed me.
It's probably because they
couldn't remember the names. Yeah. Jimmy Hart got drop kicked by one of the Bomb Angels at the end.
Nice moment.
Crowd go crazy.
Nice moment. Yep.
Then there's a pin on Judy Martin after a clothesline from the top rope.
Yep.
A surprisingly good women's match, I thought.
Yep.
Really good. A lot better than most of the stuff that we've seen from this time. And it was nice to get... I think part of the reason it was so good is because they give the women a bit of time. And this was a long match with some good depth to it. Yep. That we hadn't seen, and it goes back to we've just been watching Glow recently, and it goes back to that sort of women's wrestling, and this was a really great showing for it. And I suggest if you've watched Glow, go watch this match and see what women's wrestling was actually like in the WWF at the time.
I need to watch more Glow as well.
Yeah, it was great. I love it. The pace of the match was good.
Better
most of the way through.
Better than we've seen before.
A little bit of a lull in the midsection, but again, much better than what we've seen before.
Yeah, better, yeah.
So next up, we've got the tag team match, and there's a hell of a lot of names here. A lot of teams. I'm going to try and name them all in one breath, because I can. I did it once. I practiced.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I've been breathing.
You've been breathing.
That's my practice.
That's important.
You do what?
It's important. I'm saying.
I thought you said I support. Like I support you in your breathing.
I support you to breathe. I do. You're very important to me. It's very important that you breathe. But by all means, take it away. Let's see what you got.
God, right, okay. Demolition, Action Smash, the Hart Foundation, Bret Hart and Jim the Anvil Neidhart, the Dream Team, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Dina Bravo, the Islanders, Haku and Tama, the Bolsheviks, Nikolai Volkov and Boris Yukov, and Jolly Valiant, Slick Jimmy Hart and Bobby Heenan versus the Strike Force, Tito Santana and Rick Martel, the Young Stallions, Paul Roma and Jim Powers, the Fabulous Rougeau, Jacques Rougeau and Raymond Rougeau, the Killer Bees, Jim Brazel and B. Brian Blair, and the British Bulldogs, Davey Boy Smith and the Dynamite Kid. Do you want to have a go?
Fucking great, man.
Do you want to have a go? There you go.
I've got to... yeah, okay. Demolition, Action Smash, the Hart Foundation, Brown, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, the Dream Team, Greg Lambert, Valentine, Dina Brown, Islanders, Haku and Tama, the Bolsheviks, Nikolai Volkov, It didn't work very well.
It didn't go according to plan, my friends.
Started laughing halfway through. Anyway,
match. Let's talk about some of the wrestlers that you've just heard twice, nearly.
Indeed. So you got.
Yeah, you go first.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed the history of Boris Zukov. I believe he comes up again within our history, but he is actually an American dude named James Kirk Harrell.
Right.
He was billed not from the States, and he was obviously teaming with Volkov in another interesting kind of Lana-esque situation where off camera he was an American person and an American performer, but on camera he was of a completely different nationality.
Right.
So his height of fame, shall we call it, came with his team with Volkov. He was often ridiculed by the dickhead Vince McMahon for his unusually large head. He did have quite a big head.
He did.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, quite. So yeah, he had a bit of a face turn, and he feuded with Volkov later on in his career. But again, kind of a jobber once the Bolsheviks finished up. Yeah. They had a couple of decent moments, nothing of any great note. But yeah, it was interesting to note that Boris, particularly, or James rather, was not actually his on-camera personality.
Nope.
He actually, in his retirement match, it was on an indie show. It was an interesting thing. I watched it. He was a lot older. I think he was, he was on doing his last few shows. They retired the Boris Zukov character at this indie show, and then he was due to have a match, but his replacement was James Hurrell, the actual real life character. So they retired the Zukov character, and then the American guy came back after being in Sergeant Slaughter's boot camp. And he became like a proper sergeant.
Oh right,
Sergeant James Hurrell, and then he won his last ever match on an indie circuit, and he'd fight because he'd been doing this Russian character for so long. It was interesting.
Did he carry on the Russian character in the indie circuit?
For a short period of time.
Well done, yeah. If it's his most popular run, then you're going to go with it to make money, aren't you?
Yes. They sadly, because we do take stock. Unlike the words of Dave Meltzer, we do take stock in the Pro Wrestling Observer, and they were voted the worst tag team of the year in 1988. So that's obviously 1 year from now. But didn't really get much better for them.
It seemed to me like they were trying to recreate the Iron Sheik and Volkov, and it just didn't work quite as well, I don't think. Mm-hmm. But the Iron Sheik was such a character in himself, and Volkov was such a character in himself. That's why it worked.
It was a great heel team.
Yeah.
And like I say, he did. Zukov did have a couple of years, left in him. The feud that he had with Volkov was in 1990, so he did manage to maintain a kind of a jobber-esque career with the company for a while. But then it just didn't really work out for him. Poor soul. Yeah.
Any others or?
Quite a few.
Oh, yeah, right. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Dynamic is cool. Dynamic is good. I just a note on the Young Stallions. If we have time.
Yeah,
for the Young Stallions note.
Yeah.
They got their name because Vince McMahon just called them a pair of Young Stallions, and then the name stuck. Just on a broadcast, Vince McMahon was like, "This pair of Young Stallions," and then because that's how he sounds, obviously. And then the name stuck.
Well, the reason it was put together is because I did some research on these, and the reason they were put together is because they look similar.
Yes,
and they had the same build.
But they didn't last very long, did they?
Nope.
Because
they hated each other.
Yes.
So Paul Roma had only worked with WWF prior to this. So a lot of the people that we're talking about have come from different territories and stuff. Paul Roma was in-house talent, if you like, that found him. And that was the same with Jim Powers as well. So that's probably part of the reason that it was pushed together as well. Paul Roma had been working the lower end of the card, and he'd begun working as a tag team with Powers in March 1987, so that's around the same time as WrestleMania. And they were put together because of the similar build. Mr. T was apparently supposed to be the manager at one point, but that never happened.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so bringing back Mr. T again. Yeah, I think it would have worked, yeah.
If we were a proper tag team, man, which I think would be ace, it'd be a bit like Kaz and Enzo, except I'd be the star and I'd definitely kill you if we feuded. Anyway, if we
so
were,
Paul Roma later on.
Hang on, I wasn't done. If we were a tag team, I'd say Mr. T should manage us.
Very good. Mr. T is your dad.
Makes sense.
So Paul Roma would later go on to form the Power and Glory tag team with Hercules Hernandez, which was possibly a slightly better tag team.
They were well received.
Yeah.
Bret Hart was a big fan of them.
Very big fan of them. In fact, I believe there was a quote where Bret Hart said they were one of his favourite tag teams.
That was a direct quote.
Yeah.
I saw that too.
And Jim Powers, who was also the other young stallion, was discovered by WWF and was trained by Big John Studd.
Oh, nice.
And he did leave the WWF. So he had his early run where he was trained by them, but unlike Roma, he did leave and work for some of the smaller territories before coming back, so he had a bit of experience of ring work outside of the... Maybe part of the reason they didn't get on so well, you know?
Yeah, probably.
Powers and Roma never got on well together, and he's now a part of the concussion lawsuit against WWF.
Along with a shitload
a lot of others. In fact, some more that I'm going to talk about in a minute.
Indeed.
You got anyone else you want to talk about?
Yeah, Tama of the Islanders.
Tama, yeah. We talked about Haku before, haven't we?
We have. He was eliminated by Brian Blair in this match, but we'll talk about that soon. I always kind of looked at the Islanders like a budget head shrinkers. Did you ever encounter the head shrinkers?
I agree. Yeah,
man.
I thought Haku was really good.
Love the head shrinkers, and obviously we've talked about Haku, how mint he was. But yeah, basically, the Islanders didn't really do that much. They didn't have any great kind of great moments in the WWE.
I think Haku did by himself.
Haku did by himself. I mean, there's a tag team that lost a series of attempts to defend Strike Force as tag champions.
Right.
So yeah, they really struggled, I think, to find their feet as a team. But obviously, Haku managed to break that. Did you note that? Just going back to what you were previously saying, Paul Roma was actually one of the original members of the Horsemen.
Of the Four Horsemen. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yes, I did.
Yeah,
I didn't mention that. I should have wrote that down.
I thought that was interesting.
It is, yeah, absolutely.
I just saw it on my notes and I was like, this Tama thing. There wasn't, there's not a lot going on there.
No,
so
there's not.
Let's bring in the Horsemen. So yeah,
cool. Well,
that's the thing.
Axe and Smash. Demolition. This is the first time we've got Demolition. Demolition are a massive tag team in the history of WWF.
Indeed they are.
The longest running tag team champions until the New Day beat them in 2016.
New Day.
So let's talk a little bit about Axe first of all. Axe. Real name. William. William didn't sound as cool as Axe, did it? But during Christmas dinner, his mum said, "William."
It's a bit like Connor and Victor from the Ascension. Do you think or do you think it's like one of them's called?
I think one's probably Brian.
One's called like Brian, yeah.
And one is Victor, because that's a pretty poor name anyway.
Yeah, or like Archie or something.
Yeah, like Archie. Obviously, we'd seen him as part of the big event that we'd reviewed, I think, in episode 4 of our recap, and he was part of the Machines in that. Mm-hmm. So that was when Andre the Giant was having a feud with Bobby Heenan, and Bobby Heenan was trying to get him fired. Mm-hmm. He was one of the first wrestlers to have a 1-hour cage match against Blackjack Mulligan. The other wrestler to have a 1 hour cage match was Blackjack Mulligan, obviously, because he was in the match. I don't know why I said that, but I did. And he announced his retirement and did one final match in July 2017.
No way.
Yeah.
Wait, so this month?
This month, but when you see this, it'll be last month.
Holy shit! Yeah.
Yeah. So, from when we're filming this, it was a couple of days ago. Yeah. Shit. And
what was
Smash.
Do you know what his last match was?
I can't. No, I didn't look into it enough. I didn't think it'd be worth watching.
We'll have to find it. Everybody, go and watch that last match right now. When you finish watching this.
Smash.
Hulk Smash.
Real name.
Wait, Scott.
Barry.
Amazing.
Character was originally called Smash, but it wasn't played by Barry. It was played by Randy Coley, but too many people remembered him as Moondog Rex. So they were trying to move on that character and turn that into Smash, and it didn't work. Everyone would chant Moondog Rex when they come out, so instead they give it to Barry.
Well, you got to give Barry his due. You got to give him a go.
It was good tag team. I thought the Demolition were a great tag team. He attended high school. This is a weird fact. He attended high school with Kurt Hennig and who was Mr. Perfect, and Rick Rude.
No way. Well,
what a high school year that was.
That's a high school year. We're going to talk about Rick Rude very shortly.
Yeah. He'd later go on to be the character the Repo Man in the early 90s.
Yeah, I remember the Repo Man.
Yeah, the Repo Man.
What a shitstorm that was.
It was a bad gimmick. Yeah, it was a bad gimmick. I quite liked it.
I'm the Repo Man.
I remember as a kid getting excited when I say it. I wouldn't get excited now though. Demolition held the tag team champions for the longest run of all time until the New Day beat him. Right. Barry Smash has put in the concussion lawsuit, the big thing that happened last year where lots of old wrestlers were suing the WWF for traumatic brain injuries that had happened during their time there. Do you think that could have been the reason that the New Day beat the record?
Ooh.
Because we don't want them to be the longest running in the history books.
That's an interesting
And it's around exactly the same time. Could have been, could not have been. I'm just speculating because it's fun to speculate.
It is fun to speculate.
So, have you got any more to talk about in terms of...
Nope, let's do the match.
Well, to start off with, Strikeforce had quickly become top contenders for the Tag Team Championships, which were held by the Hart Foundation. Mm-hmm. So a little bit of background into the match. That was a nice feud,
man. That was a nice feud.
Yeah, it was, yeah. So it starts off with the Russian national anthem, of course. Perfect.
Yep.
Demolition enter in bondage gear.
Yep. That was their thing.
It looked great.
That would be our thing.
It would be our thing. It looked strong, didn't it? It looked scary.
Yeah.
But even when they were faces, it worked.
I missed that. They were faces.
Demolition. Yeah, they were faces.
What?
Not now, but later on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew
they were faces. Yeah.
I remember them as strong heels.
No, I think part of the reason they were faces. I'm sure they were faces. They better have been faces. Don't tell me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure that they were. But the theme song works so well for a face tag team. And you heard the theme song tonight. Here comes the smash, and here comes the masher, walking disaster. Bam, 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 bam. It's great, man. That's a great face. No? That's something you can sing along to. That's like Enzo Amore and Big Cass.
Obviously, it's exactly the same as Enzo Amore and Big Cass. That was fucking great, man. That was brilliant. You should see every episode.
Oh, you can do the singing in the next one. Great crowd. Really great crowd. Proper buzzing for this match.
Proper buzzing, mate.
Proper buzzing. Starts off with Nikolai Volkov and Rick Martel in the ring. Mm-hmm. Martel pins Zukov quite early, so that's the two Russians.
Yep.
American Russian, as one of them was, gone.
Yep.
Martel pins, I've just said that. Too many people around the ring. Right, here's my problem with this match, and this is why I hate tag team Survivor matches. I didn't like the tag team match from last year at Survivor Series. Too many people around the ring. The cameramen can't get around the ring, so you're getting feet in front of it. I don't think. And also, it's the whole fact that if one member of the team gets pinned, you're both gone.
Yeah.
There's the only way that's sort of acceptable. It's never acceptable. It's crap. I don't like it.
They don't do that anymore. They haven't done that in recent times.
They did, yeah. The New Day, yeah, because the New Day was out really early, like last year, and you had like the Shining Stars going.
Yeah.
I just don't like. I just don't think it works well as a match. I think it's too busy. I think there's too much going on, and watching it gives me a headache with all the camera angles with legs.
That makes sense.
So then we've got Jacques pinned by Axe after missing a high crossbody.
Yeah, Jacques Rouzeau.
We talked about missing crossbodies and getting pinned in an earlier episode. It was for a women's title match, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
And here
terrible.
We go. We've got exactly the same happening here.
Yep.
So I just wanted to point out that that's the first time I've not seen that one.
It was kind of some stupid eliminations.
Yeah.
Smash gets disqualified.
Yeah, well, Gorilla just before that had counted that there was 10 men. It was 10 on 8, but actually it was 8 on 8, and I think that just proves my point that there's just too many people in that ring at that time. It's like for me, a battle royale works because the first minute is crap to watch, really, unless you've got a big star in it, a big Show or Braun Strowman or Andre the Giant, and people are trying to get him out. That's the story at the start of a battle royal. With this, there's none of that. It just doesn't work for me. Smash pushes the ref and gets disqualified after beating him.
Stupid idiot.
Yeah, just. I mean, it's a bit boring though. It's a bit of a boring way to get them out.
Shit.
The crowd did love Strikeforce though, and you could really see that they were behind Strikeforce at this point.
Yeah.
Bret Hart saves Anvil from an ear pin from Santana, and the Anvil quickly pins Santana at that point.
Nice heel move.
It's a bit sad to see Santana not being used in the way that I think he should have been used.
He was the Ziggler.
Of this era. He was. When either the Bulldogs or the Hearts are in, things seem to get a little bit more interesting. So because
they knew how to work together.
They knew how to work, but not only with each other, but with anyone else in the ring. I think when they were in the ring, you could see that they were on a different class at times of tag team, and I'd stand by that quite happily.
Yeah.
Haku takes out the Dynamite Kid after Dynamite delivers a headbutt from the second rope, which looked nasty. It looked like he proper headbutted him. And then, because he did that, but then Haku got the super kick on him.
Yeah, wicked kick as well.
Wicked kick, barefoot, weren't they, as well?
Yep, Haku was a beast with that.
Yes.
It's the same move that Rusev uses now.
That sort of, it's the hip.
It's kind of like a flag. Yeah, it's like it's a beast, that.
Great, but I just didn't like the look of the headbutt and knowing what happened to Dynamite as well.
It's sad when you look back at it.
Paul Roma?
Probably the young stallions want to find the moments, actually. Paul Roma's win.
Yeah, Paul Roma pinned Greg the Hammer Valentine. It's a bit sad to see Hammer being used like that, but because I quite like Hammer. I thought it was a good worker. No?
Meh.
I thought it was a bland character, but it was a good worker.
I like to do my comparisons, as you know. I know Valentine had that kind of again, very very kind of Dustin Rhodes, very kind of gold. He's just a solid worker. But then Goldust has a wicked character.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like Valtry's been a solid worker.
I'm trying to help you out.
Yeah.
I'm trying to help you out and think of someone.
Maybe not. I don't know. R-Truth has a really fun character.
It's fun, too.
I'm trying to think of somebody really that doesn't really just stand out.
I don't think you can. What about Roderick Strong?
Yeah, but on the main roster though. like
on the main roster.
He was on the main roster that kind of balls the shit out of you, but
He didn't.
but you know that he's good. That he's just a solid performer.
What about Mark Henry? Something like that?
There you go, like a Mark Henry.
Yeah,
there you go.
Sort of.
Well, actually, no, but his House of Pain, not House of Pain.
Yeah, that was great, but
The
nowadays
Hall of Pain.
how they use it.
Yeah.
You know, now. Anyway, that completely went off track.
Yep,
Then I missed the match completely because I was too busy looking at the referee. Did you notice the referee?
Yeah, what a douche.
One side of his shirt was untucked, and that annoyed me. It looked messy.
Yeah.
And any time there's out happening like that, and I just a little thing annoyed me.
I wasn't a fan. He was all over the place.
Yeah, it was a bit of a weird
He
referee.
was very much all over the place.
And then after a double team kick from Haku, the Killer Bees continuing to roll up and take out Bret Hart.
Yeah.
The Killer Bees pin Tama using Twin Magic.
Indeed.
Twin Magic, how do they call it?
I can't remember.
Yeah, the masked deception or something like that, isn't it? I thought this was the worst match on the card for me, which is, to say that I enjoyed the women's match more.
Yep.
I think that this type of match is just too busy for a tag team.
Yep, it was too much.
You agree?
Yep.
Lovely. Then we have a promo from Ted DiBiase. This is great, man. This is one of the best Ted DiBiase promos. I love it. So this is the first time we've seen Ted DiBiase, but I think we'll talk about him a bit more in the later episode.
We've got a lot of stuff on.
Yeah, it's a long episode. Promo from Ted DiBiase in the back of a car. What it takes to survive is money, and I've got it.
Yeah.
Great straight away, because Ted DiBiase had only just sort of become into the WWF, and he was straight away that massive heel.
We will talk about this in a later episode, but he is the only person in history to be able to buy a world championship reign.
Yep.
Which I think is pretty mint.
It's a great accolade.
Yeah.
So in this promo,
it's not actually recognised, which is sad.
Is it not?
No, I'll take
No, and that's but we'll come up to that soon. A kid is offered $300 to do 10 push-ups. $300 to do 10 push-ups.
How many push-ups would you do for $300?
I'd do a lot more than 10. He only makes 9, and Ted DiBiase laughs in his face and says, you've got to learn the value of money and that you need to work for your money, and to this tiny 6-year-old child. Another kid gets offered $500 to bounce a basketball 15 times. On the 14th bounce, he kicks it away. Absolutely brilliant. Makes a woman bat for money.
Yeah.
Says she hasn't done she hasn't done a good enough job of barking, so she's not getting it. Absolutely excellent.
Yeah, ridiculous.
And then there was so I just love that. I love that promo. Absolutely brilliant.
He was one of the best promo givers, one of the best promo executors in the history of wrestling.
Definitely go back and watch that promo. Brilliant. Interview with Ventura and Gorilla, who were selling the Jumping Bomb Angels. I was happy to see this.
Yes.
It's such a shame that they didn't carry on with the Jumping Bomb Angels as long as they could have done. And then an interview with the Honky Tonk Man, who was talking about how Hulk Hogan was jealous of him and how Savage Cat beat him and stuff like that. I don't really know why Hogan was put into that picture. Hogan was way too busy at the time with Andre. I don't even think they should have even looked at the Honky.
It was a star
Hogan.
power thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then there was quite a bit of a wait between the tag match and the main event. I don't really get what all that was about, but was waiting for the main event.
Yeah, a lot of faff.
So next up we have Andre the Giant, King Kong Bundy, One Man Gang, Ravishing Rick Rude, The Natural Butch Reed with Bobby the Brain Heenan versus Hulk Hogan, Paul Orndorff.
Hulk Hogan.
Hey, there we go. We should have called ourselves Hogan. Let's not know.
Hogan. Maybe a t-shirt. Maybe a new t-shirt. Anyway, also you missed Slick. Slick was with One Man Gang.
Yes, it was.
Sorry for being a pedant.
No, that's okay. And then we had Paul Orndorff.
Yes!
I did it right first time. Hulk Hogan, Paul Orndorff.
Hulk Hogan.
Ken Patera, Bam Bam Bigelow, Don Morocco with Oliver Humperdinck. Don Morocco was filling in for superstar Billy Graham. And I thought it was a real shame that Billy Graham wasn't actually in the match, because it would have been good to see him with the Hulk, considering Hulk Hogan based so much of his character on Billy Graham with the moustache and stuff. It would have been great to have seen them in the pay-per-view together. I'll talk a little bit about that after we've sort of gone through people, really. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I got Bigelow, man.
Bigelow.
This is my favourite. My favourite character of this time.
I thought Junkyard Dog was.
Well, wait. I was surprised. To go back and find Bigelow at this time.
Oh, was you?
So, yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited to tell you shit that you probably already know. But I enjoyed Bigelow's performance here. He was a good face.
Great.
And given that he was such a monster, I was surprised they built him as such. Managed by Oliver Humperdinck, which is obviously I'm going to talk about. I'll talk about Humperdinck first because he kind of leads in. He managed Bigelow. He also had a stint managing superstar Billy Graham, and in this match he was with Orndorff. And he later on in his career, which had again some great managerial. Had a great managerial resume, but nothing of, he didn't make any great impact in terms of legacy, mainly because I don't think he got on with that many people backstage.
Right. This is Oliver Humperdinck.
In WCW, or WWE, Oliver Humperdinck. I just like saying his name, Oliver Humperdinck.
It's great, isn't it?
Humperdinck. So he had a good stint managing Bigelow, and he billed him. There's a good promo that Humperdinck does with Bigelow when Bigelow is first coming out. In WWE, a promo, and he's under this sheet, and he takes the sheet down, and Bigelow's like looking like a fucking monster, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that moves on to Bigelow, man. One of the greatest big movers, one of the greatest big guys in history. Absolute sham that he never had a run with the WWE title, in my opinion. He was ECW World Champion, and he was a WCW Hardcore Champion and Tag Team Champion. Many people will remember him, sadly, unfortunately, for his feud with Lawrence Taylor, where he main evented a WrestleMania when he faced Lawrence Taylor.
Poor main event.
Yeah, it was a very poor main event. He was over 300 pounds. I used to do a killer moonsault to finish off opponents. It was beautiful.
To see a guy that size do a moonsault was great.
Absolutely beautiful. And he was a tag team champion in WCW with Diamond Dallas Page.
Oh, really?
Yes, they had a nice little faction.
He went around all three of them, didn't he, really? Bang, bang, he got around.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he got around. There was a few others. Rick Rude was another one.
Yeah.
Surprised because he was in ECW as well for a very brief period of time. But so Bam Bam Bigelow being around at this time was brilliant. I enjoyed it.
It was great.
He managed to beat One Man Gang with a bloody slingshot. Well, he managed to beat King Kong Bundy rather with a slingshot in this, which was interesting. But yeah, when you look at how well he progressed, and he didn't really change his look that much.
No, he didn't. But he looked badass.
Oh yeah,
he looked absolutely badass.
At that time, he looked badass. Oh yeah.
Even now, I think he looks badass.
Well, yeah, totally. When was the Lawrence Taylor feud? Was it 1995, where he that was just before he got kicked out of the $1 Million Corporation with the $1 Million Man, who we've just talked about, and he went face for a brief period of time. That is my favourite Bigelow time, was when he was a face in WWE and was teaming with Diesel or Kevin Nash. For a period of time against the $1 Million Corporation. Yeah. I really like that. I thought he was a great
story,
great face, great story, bro. And yeah, so that was good. Humperdinck, actually, one of the guys he managed, which I didn't mention, which was one of my favourite characters from when I was growing up, was a much younger Psycho Sid.
Oh really? Okay, you love Psycho Sid.
Love Psycho Sid.
There'd been a big storyline coming up to this because Bigelow just entered and obviously was beating everyone.
Mm-hmm. Ferocious.
A lot of people wanted to manage him, so you had all these heel managers competing for him, and it was Oliver Humperdinck that he chose, and that's what sort of cemented him as a babyface, wasn't it?
Yes,
and that's why he was a babyface in this match.
Yes.
Part of the team. Modern day equivalent?
It's a Bigelow.
It's a really easy answer, and you're just going to agree straight away when I say it.
Wait. And
I'm just going to say it.
What, in WWE or NXT?
WWE. I'll let you think about it while I talk a little bit about One Man Gang.
Okay, I want it.
So One Man Gang debuted on WWF in May 1987, and he was mainly defeating jobbers.
Got it. But finish.
He was mainly defeating jobbers. He was a major part of a storyline involving Billy Graham. So what we just talked about, Billy Graham was supposed to be in the match, and it was the storyline was that Billy Graham was going into retirement after a running splash on a concrete floor by One Man Gang. One Man Gang was so strong. I really enjoyed One Man Gang.
Yeah.
I hated the fact that he became Akeem.
Yeah.
I didn't think that gimmick worked.
Was it the African Dream?
Yeah. And it was all that sort of thing. And I think he had sort of a laugh with it, but you couldn't take it serious. Whereas this character...
One Man Gang was a fucking...
It looked like
scary.
a badass.
Scary.
In fact, speaking of badass... that he was the type of person that when the Nasty Boys come into the WWF could have teamed with them. It was the American Badass, like it was that biker.
Would have been a great faction, that
And they turned him into Akeem, the American Dream,
the African Dream.
The African Dream. Sorry, it was just
they
awful.
do that a lot though, man. Look at what they did with Brodus Clay. You know, I don't know if you were
with the Funkadactyls.
Yeah, like look at him. He could have been a monster.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so Ken Patera. Oh, actually, have you got the modern day wrestler, Bam Bam Bigelow?
Samoa Joe?
Wrong.
What the fuck?
Samoa Joe didn't do enough high flying.
Alright, who you got?
Kevin Owens.
Ooh, nice.
Instant agree.
Yeah, nice.
Nice.
Although, wouldn't it have been killer to have Bam Bam Bigelow at that level?
Absolutely.
Wouldn't have been. They would never have done it at that time, but wouldn't it have been amazing?
Yeah, he was great, and he never changed his look, and he looked amazing.
Yeah,
I've got a lot of love for
It was
Bam
a
Bam.
lot of time. It was again a time when, and not like obviously the women had it a lot more of a challenge, but it was a time when, you know, if you didn't look chiseled and you didn't look, you know, you didn't oil up your pecs and you didn't wear your skimpy speedos.
Have you oiled up your pecs today?
I have. I'm ready for the cinnamon challenge. I'm gonna fucking take it all in. That's why we call it the gay podcast. Anyway, yeah, no. So you are right. You are right.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to have seen Bigelow do his thing on a top level, as in like a main event.
Yeah, I do agree.
Yeah.
Ken Patera, who was another wrestler in this match, before becoming a wrestler, he was a weightlifter and competed in the 1977 World's Strongest Man tournament, finishing third. Everyone loves the World's Strongest Man. My mum and dad used to love watching that when I was younger, you know. Yeah. I don't know why. I think it's on Dave nowadays, isn't it? Something like that. He performed many party tricks, including driving nails through boards and blowing up a hot water bottle until it popped. I thought it was a very impressive skill.
Well, there you go.
And here's the kicker party trick. He had just got out of prison. I think we talked about this wrestler briefly.
Was this an angle or is this an actual?
No. This is an actual thing. Yeah, he was wrestling with WWF prior to this, and I think we'd mentioned it in another podcast where a wrestler would come in and they wouldn't give him the weightlifter gimmick because of this guy having the weightlifter gimmick, and as soon as he come in, the other guy was just shoved away. He just got out of prison after him and Masa Sieto, I think it is, was denied service after hours at a McDonald's.
Man,
which then
you're gonna
prompted
kick up a fuss.
If you're
if you're not gonna get served at McDonald's, man, that's a bitch, man. That sucks.
So that prompted him to throw a rock through a window, and when the police, as you do, because that's what wrestlers do when they're angry, probably steroids,
and then want a Mackie D's.
So the police came to arrest him. So he beat up the policeman.
Naturally.
And then he left him to 2 years in jail time. So WWF welcomed him back and put him as a babyface. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they've done that. They've done that again, you know. There's another angle with a guy, what's his name? What was his name? South Africa. Someone tell me, trivia. WWE, he actually went on, I think he beat The Undertaker. In about 2006, 2007, maybe a guy, South African guy who'd been in prison, and that was his whole thing. But he had actually been in prison. Somebody Jones, Nathan Jones.
Nathan Jones, there we
yeah,
go.
And so they like to use that whole badass thing. Yeah, they've been in prison, and
but if you go to prison, you've generally done something wrong, and I don't know if you should be given that platform. To be perfectly honest, I mean, you can never become a.
To be fair, he could have done something a lot worse. Like he could have, he put a rock through a McDonald's window, which obviously
which
sucks.
he didn't get jail time for. He then beat up a policeman with a fellow wrestler.
Yeah, all right.
I mean, if he got 2 years for throwing a rock through a window, I think there'd be something really wrong with the justice system.
Yeah.
Really wrong.
Yeah, I really want my fucking nuggets, man.
Throwing a whopper through the window.
Say, where's my fucking nuggets?
So Ken Patera was in a feud with Bobby Heenan at the time, so that's a bit of the background story going into the match. So, we're ready to go into the match? You done enough there?
Yeah, man.
Cool. So, we start off with Rude and Don Morocco. Don Morocco had a lot to do in this match, didn't he?
Yep. I like him.
Yeah.
I like him.
Bam Bam Bigelow lifts Rick Rude easily over his head, and it looked amazing. Like it was absolutely nothing. I know Rick Rude was a smaller guy, but it's that stability that I always talk about. Yeah. Same with Ricky Dragon Steamboat. When you've got that stability in the ring. Same with John Cena. Yeah. When John Cena carries someone like even the Big Show, you can see that he's strong and he's grounded, and I love that. Hulk Hogan gets a leg drop on Natural Butch Reed, then gets the pin.
Of course, because that's what you would do with it. What a shit finisher, man! Like no one ever used that. Have they? No one's ever used that since as a finishing move. Because
I don't think people really use it anymore.
Undertaker uses it still.
Oh, really?
And also, actually, wait, I am wrong, because Nia Jax uses a leg drop.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, she does.
But then you know what though, man? Nia Jax's leg drop looks fucking mega.
Yeah,
it looks mega.
Yeah,
and I'd much rather be trapped under Nia Jax's leg than Hulk Hogan's.
I don't believe you for 1 second.
Nah, man, Nia Jax has got a killer leg drop. Anyway,
so Natural Butch Reed is eliminated. Hogan is in the corner celebrating with his teammates, and at this point, Andre the Giant walks in. Great moment in the match. Crowd go crazy thinking they're going to see Andre and Hulk. I think that would have been a good moment to have had it as well, actually. It's sort of built up. And it was just nice the way that Hogan was celebrating, and in comes the monster. Mm-hmm. You know, great moment. And then Ken Patera tags Hogan. Yep. I mean, it would have been great to have seen, but I mean, it's, you know,
it was a nice moment.
It's not going to do Ken Patera any good either.
Building anticipation, I assume.
Yeah, I guess so, but I didn't like it. I thought it would have been a nice moment to have had a little bit of.
And he gets smashed up by the one-man gang anyway.
Yeah. After being attacked in the corner, Patera is eliminated by one-man gang. One-man gang had a great show here. Yes, I thought he looked really great, actually.
Yes, he did.
Such a shame.
One of my favourites, like on this pay-per-view.
He was great. Him and Bam Bam Bigelow were great in this match, especially at the end. Yeah, big men doing really good work.
Do you know what I mean? Like, they weren't like, you know, they're talking about a resurgence of big men in the WWE right now, with Braun. But like, I'm talking like, you know, big men that could move, big men that could really move.
And these guys both could, and it was great. Mm-hmm. Rude gets out Orndorff. Orndorff didn't really do much in this match. Nope. It's sad to say, considering we've seen good shows from him before.
Nice heel though, the roll up and the interference from Bundy as well.
Yeah, he's eliminated soon after by Don Morocco, and
that power slam was good.
Well, I thought it looked like Rude had kicked out, but whatever. One man gang enters and eliminates Morocco. Bam Bang in the ring was moving so fast, and it looked so strong, and it was one of them. It's a bit like, do you know when Braun Strowman runs? Yeah. And it just looks like it's going to hurt.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like looking at Rude as well, because obviously we've got to cover Rude. You know, I think he was the blueprint for the Gold Dusts and the kind of the Val Venuses and those kind of
Val Venus is
the kind of sexy, you know, stripper type characters that are reused.
Yeah, or you know, Rick Martel or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, Martel, Tyler Breeze, I guess.
Tyler Breeze, yeah, it's that pretty boy, isn't it, with heel attitude about him.
Yeah. I know he did loads of stuff though, man. Like, I was researching, I should probably know all this because
he's really interesting.
Like he co-founded DX, man.
Yeah.
I completely. I was
He had
there.
a
I
massive-
watched it all.
And you
But
can't
you
remember.
forgot. Yeah.
He had a massive moment with WCW as well. And
He was on the same show, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was on the same show.
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
we'll go into
Props
Rick
to
Rude
Rude,
a little
yeah.
bit more
Props to
in the
Rude,
next
yeah.
episode.
Sorry, getting
just because
excited.
we've gone so far over. So Andre's done nothing in the ring yet, apart from step in, building up to the big Hulk Andre showdown. Andre and Hulk eventually enter the ring, and the crowd goes wild, and nothing really happens. Hulk goes outside the ring. He gets thrown out of the ring by Andre. Starts attacking King Kong Bundy.
That was
one-man gang.
That was a nice moment. How they all stop him from getting back in. That was,
Yeah, I mean, it sort of makes sense.
Yeah.
I think is the nice
a
thing.
lot of good thinking here.
Yeah,
on
it
as
makes
much
sense.
as we slate Vinny.
Yeah.
A lot of good thinking here. A lot of good.
So Bam Bam is left attacking Bundy. Really helps sell Bam Bam at this point. Bam Bam pins Bundy with a slingshot. Probably move of the night. I mean, it looked great, didn't it, when he gets that move. One Man Gang misses a splash, and Bam Bam gets the pin, leaving Bam Bam and Andre. So this was just it was everyone. It was 3 against Bam Bam.
Yeah.
And Bam Bam got one out, and there was all monsters.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like, Kempatera. It was some real beasts. It was King Kong Bundy, main event of WrestleMania 2.
They were the big guys for this time.
One Man Gang who looked amazing, Andre the Giant. And you've got this storyline where Bam Bam is doing his best in the ring and is slowly getting them out. And then which builds up to a great finish, I think, when Andre comes out and proves too much for him. And I like that. I think that's
it was
okay.
probably. I think Bam Bam would probably put that down as one of his finest moments, because I think that.
I think he had many fine moments.
Yeah, I think he did. But like in terms of a push, and in terms of a platform, to be able to go 1-on-1 with Andre the Giant, and
in your first pay-per-view,
and also have knocked out One Man Gang and King Kong Bundy, that was a great showing.
In your first pay-per-view, as well. That's brilliant, and he looks great.
And then you look at what he did in '95 with Lawrence Taylor, and you're just like, what?
Hulk comes out and attacks Andre with a championship belt. So that's when we get the classic Hulk celebration, because Andre leaves. So we get to have that moment, because the crowd won't it.
Can you do the?
No, I'll do it, and then you can do it in the next episode, because I've sang once already in this one. Jesse Ventura, what an egomaniac, is what he says. It's almost like he was predicting Hulk's entire career.
Yeah.
There's an interview with Andre and Bobby at the end. Bobby wants a contract for a match against Andre. A contract for a match with Andre.
Yeah.
Which we sort of see in the next pay-per-view. What did you think of the pay-per-view in total?
Gay Stars, I give it a 3. 3.
I think, it was okay. I'd say 2.5. I think it's...
Mainly, like, Bam Bam showing was a highlight. I thought that was probably. I think I've had a few favourite moments tonight, but that was definitely good.
Yeah, I
the
think
DDT, Jake the Snake, that was brilliant.
I think the ending to that first match.
Yeah,
as well,
the
great.
honky tonk man, like just him running out.
Fine.
Very heel moment.
Best match of the night.
Last one. I'm gonna give it
Really?
to the last one, yeah.
Okay, I'd give it to the first one.
I see where you come from, but again, I got really excited about Bam Bam. I'm really excited to see him.
You could argue both.
To see him at this time, just because I'm a big, I'm a fan.
But that's part of watching stuff like this back and having nostalgia.
Yep.
So this is the end of 1987 in terms of WWF pay-per-views.
We've got the Royal Rumble next.
Royal Rumble next in 1998. Can we just talk a little bit...
1988.
Sorry, 1980... Whatever. 1988.
1988.
So 1987, we've had WrestleMania 3 and we've had the Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Match of the year.
Ooh.
Easily, for me, goes to Macho Man.
Oh, you're going to give it to
Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Easily.
I can't really give it to any Jake the Snake. Ooh, that...
Jake the Snake and Honky.
I don't know, man. I can't really give it to anything Jake the Snake related yet.
No, not yet.
No, alright. Realistically, I'm going to do the same pick.
Yep, great.
I'm not going to be controversial because it was amazing.
And I think this was a massive year for WWF. This launched them into the mainstream so much, even more than the rock and wrestling connection ever could have. They'd built up some wonderful storylines. I thought this was a cracking year for WWF.
Yeah. There was amazing stuff, man. Amazing stuff this year, I think.
Yeah. So please check us out on Facebook. Gimme a Hull Yeah. Twitter, Gimme a Hull Yeah, and Patreon, Gimme a Hull Yeah. Leave any comments, any feedback. We're still quite new to this, and any feedback would really help us out.
Yeah, thank you for your support so far as well. We really appreciate the likes, tweets, all that kind of stuff. We've been on Twitter. We do we comment on pay-per-views and stuff like that as well. Current pay-per-views too. So don't forget to follow us on Twitter for our opinions on present day stuff, but also keep watching the videos for our look backs and our
wrestling
terrible singing, our wrestling rewinds, and our stupidity.
Great. Well, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and take it easy.
Wait. Keep it gay.
Oh, keep it gay.
Oh yeah, shit. Buy a mug.